Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. I hope your day, your week, and your weekend have been going very well so far. The NFL Week 6 is officially upon us, and with that comes another edition of Sunday Night Football. Got a really great matchup this week, guys, between the Detroit Lions facing off with the Kansas City Chiefs and an epic showdown on Sunday night. And as always, I've got some really great picks to go ahead and share with you. But first, as always, people, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. It helps the channel grow, and it really does mean a ton to us. And you don't want to miss any of the content we have coming out here on the channel between myself, Evan, Trey, covering NFL, college football, MLB, NBA coming up. So many great sports, so much great content. You don't want to miss out on any of it. And the best part is every pick we hand out on this channel, 100% free. And make sure to stick around to the end of the video, guys. Every single week here on the Sunday Night Football video series, I do an anytime touchdown player prop giveaway contest. I gotta find an easier way to say that, maybe not as big of a name for it. But at the end of every video, I hand out an anytime touchdown player prop, and the rules for this contest are very simple. If that player scores a touchdown, one lucky commenter who comments the name of that player will win a free $25 Amazon gift card. Last week, I picked Ramondre Stevenson to score a touchdown. He actually scored multiple last week, so we do have a winner from last week's video. Jumping over to the YouTube screen here, shout out to Nico5930 for winning the anytime touchdown player prop giveaway contest from last week. Ramondre Def scoring anytime. Just for the confidence, I got to go ahead and give you the win. How do you know this, friend? Well, because I gave it out, of course. Ramondre Stevenson, anytime touchdown, definitely cashed last week. So shout out Nico5930. Go ahead, DM me on Instagram at TassosPicks, and we'll go ahead and get you that free $25 Amazon gift card. Don't worry if you didn't win last week, guys. We have plenty of opportunities to win all season long. So again, make sure to stick around to the end of today's video for this week's anytime touchdown player prop parlay contest. And again, comment the name of that player. If he scores the touchdown, we'll go ahead and give another gift card away. All right, guys, with all of that said, let's finally go ahead and talk about Lions Chiefs, the reason that we are all here. Now, right off the bat, I want to go ahead and talk about my spread pick because I think it's going to be a bit controversial, and I think a lot of people are going to call me a Chiefs homer and all this stuff. I'm taking Chiefs on the spread here, minus 2.5. We'll jump over to the outlier screen quickly to go ahead and show you the odds. We got Chiefs minus 2.5. Best odds available to me are no vig at minus 106. Now, you guys can shop around for the best sportsbook odds available. What's best for me may not be what's best for you, but for me, minus 106 on no vig is the best odds available. And I got to be honest, guys, right off the jump, this game feels like the ultimate trap game for me. Just at a first glance, and honestly, because everybody, and you've seen it from the public betting numbers, if you guys look into the public betting information, the public loves Detroit this week. The sharps, everybody loves Detroit this week. It's a trap. I'm telling you, Admiral Akbar, it's a trap. Lions are 2.5-point underdogs in this game. Why? That's all I got to say is why. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wearing my little tinfoil hat here, and I don't know what I'm talking about, but this doesn't make any sense to me. And that, to me, kind of signals that we probably should be on the Chiefs in this spot. Detroit is 4-1. Since their week 1 loss against Green Bay, they've won 4 in a row. They're not just winning games, they're destroying teams. They have won each of their last 4 games by a minimum of 8 points. The Ravens game was the closest game they've had since week 1 against Green Bay. They beat Chicago by 31. They beat Cleveland by 24. They beat the Bengals by 13. The closest game they've had is an 8-point win over the Ravens since week 1. The Chiefs, meanwhile, as you can see by the insight provided by Outlier, the Chiefs are 6-13 against the spread in their last 19 games, only a 31.6% hit rate for the spread for the Chiefs. They are 2-3 this year. They're on a short rest, coming off a Monday Night Football loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They've only covered the spread in 2 games this year against the Ravens and the Giants. Not exactly the most impressive win. Yeah, they're at home in Arrowhead, but the Lions, with the form they're in, they are one of the hottest offenses in the league. They have scored. Let's go back to that outlier screen real quick to go through the Lions scoring, okay? 52 versus the Bears, 38 versus the Ravens, 34 versus the Browns, 37 versus the Bengals. They have scored 34 or more points in each of their last 4 games. So I'll ask you one more time. Why are the Lions underdogs in this spot? I'll tell you why. It's a trap game. This is a typical Vegas trap game. The public is all over the Lions, and why wouldn't you be? If you just took everything out of it, right, and you just from a football standpoint, just football, not taking line movement and betting numbers and deeper analytics into account, just look at what the Lions have done, what the Chiefs have done, putting them head to head, what would you pick? I'll give you a second. The Lions, if you have a half a brain, the Lions would be the play. But it's not the play. It's the Chiefs here at -2.5 at home. First and foremost here, let's get something out of the way. And people hate when I talk about this stuff. Like I said, it's like when I put the tinfoil hat on, right? You got to admit, and as a Patriots fan who loved Tom Brady, and I grew up in that era, and I love the dynasty, I will be the one, hey, hands up, first to admit, we benefited from referee play. We benefited from the refs. The best teams get the best treatment. The teams that, like the Patriots, like the Chiefs, they get favoritism from the league and from the referees. Don't tell me it's not. We've seen it time and time again in the Mahomes era. It's going to happen here. You're at home, Sunday Night Football, primetime game. That will be an advantage the Chiefs have. And I know you might say that's not fair. It's just football. I'm not saying that's going to swing the whole game, but it is an advantage the Chiefs have in this spot. Home field advantage. They have a little bit of referee help. We'll say a little bit of referee help here. But even at a wider glance, the Chiefs are not a bad play. I'm not just betting them because of the spread and because the refs favor them and because Taylor Swift just had a new album come out very recently. And all the Swifties be watching this game. Those aren't really the real reason. Those are factors, but not the real reason. The real reason here is I'm not completely sold on the Lions. Let's go back to their schedule. Like I talked about here, they've been winning a lot of games, destroying teams. Well, let's see who they've played. The Bears. Game number 2 for the Ben Johnson era. Okay, not exactly the best start for them. And they've kind of turned around since. But at the time, really good spot for the Lions. Baltimore. Now, the Chiefs have also beaten the Ravens, but I think we can all agree those wins do not look as impressive now knowing the Ravens have the worst defense in the NFL statistically and their offense has been banged up. Although at the time that they played, they weren't really banged up. Lamar was still there. They beat the Cleveland Browns. Granted, they do have a very good defense, but that was the last game of Joe Flacco, one of the last games of Joe Flacco in Cleveland. It's the Browns. They're not a very good football team. And then the Bengals, who just traded for Joe Flacco because their offense was so bad with Jake Browning. The Lions have been great, not taking away anything they've done, but we have to be honest here, they've beaten up on a cupcake schedule. Even the Ravens game, less impressive as time goes on. The Chiefs haven't beaten really anyone either, but they're a little bit more battle-tested. Jacksonville's 4-1, a pretty solid team. The Eagles, I know they've kind of dropped the last 2, but they're a 3-2 team, reigning Super Bowl champions, a lot of talent. The Chargers, a pretty solid team. They've also lost each of their last 2. The Chiefs, to me, have had a little bit of a tougher schedule. They've had a little bit more tests of their strength here. And if you think I'm talking out of my ass, look at the right side of the screen here. The Chiefs' strength of schedule, 18th in the NFL. The Lions, 30th. They've had one of the easiest schedules in the entire league so far this season. On top of that, the Lions have a ton of injuries, which is not good because although the Chiefs lost on Monday, and although they haven't looked great, we have to admit the offense has started to pick it up the last couple of weeks. Again, they played Baltimore. We have to admit their defense isn't good, but the Chiefs scored 37. It looked better. 22 versus the Giants, 28 versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. The offense has quietly and slowly been picking up momentum, getting better. Xavier Worthy's back now. They're going to get Rashee Rice back soon. The offense is getting better and better and better. And if you look at the statistics, the offense really isn't that bad for Kansas City. Tied for 13th in scoring. They're 9th in the NFL in passing yards per game, 11th in the NFL in rushing yards per game, 10th in yards per play. They don't turn the ball over much. The offensive line has been solid. Top 10, not giving up many sacks. Efficient for the most part in the red zone, middle of the road there. 6th in first downs, tied for 11th third down conversion. They're tied for second tackles for loss. This Chiefs offense, from a statistical standpoint, is not as bad as some would believe. And the Lions defense, although it has been solid, the injuries are piling up. Look at this injuries report for Detroit. Specifically the secondary. Terrion Arnold out. Brian Branch questionable with an ankle injury. You keep going down here. Look how many corners and safeties they have out. Avonte Maddox, no, he's a little bit older. Khalil Dorsey, you keep going down the list here. Another corner here. DJ Reed out. Injured reserve. There's a lot of injuries in that Lions secondary. It is banged up to smithereens. If Brian Branch does not play, holy shit, good luck Detroit. Even looking beyond the defense, on the offensive line, Taylor Decker out. They have a couple other tackles, some of their depth pieces out on the offensive line. A lot of key injuries for the Lions in this spot. Not very good matchup with this Chiefs team, especially that offensive line injury. Now, they have been pretty good on the offensive line. Penei Sewell has been incredible, but losing Taylor Decker at right tackle is a massive loss. And look at the Lions offense. It's been very, very good, but again, beating up on weaker competition. This Chiefs defense hasn't been as great as they typically are. It's still a pretty damn good defense. If we go on the dashboard over at Guy Boston Sports, the DVOA numbers got cut off a little bit, but the left side is Detroit, the right side is Kansas City. The Lions have the number 1 ranked team in the NFL right now in terms of DVOA. The Chiefs are still top 10. So despite being 2-3, despite their struggles, despite everybody saying the Chiefs look washed this year, DVOA-wise, from a numbers perspective, this team is still pretty damn good. Top 10 in the NFL in terms of DVOA. The 9th best offense, the 13th best defense. And again, they played the Chargers. They played the Eagles. They played the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are 4-1. Okay? They played Baltimore. I get it. Not as impressive of a game. They played the Giants. The Giants actually have won a couple of decent games. They beat the Chargers and they beat the Eagles. 2 teams the Chiefs lost to. So their schedule to me has been way more impressive than Detroit's. And I know I'm rambling here. I keep going on and talking, but I'm telling you guys, I do think Kansas City is a really good bet. Beyond the home field advantage and the betting line thing and all the referee stuff, all the referee talk, I do think it's a very good matchup for Kansas City. One more thing to look at here is this number right here. Jared Goff versus pressure this season. All of his numbers dropped quite a bit. You see here, yards per attempt dropped to the lowest of all these numbers, 6.8 yards per attempt. Completion percentage, 53.5%. Interception percentage goes up to 4.7%. Guess where the Chiefs rank in terms of pressure rate? The 3rd highest frequency rank in the NFL. They bring pressure. Guess what Jared Goff's going to struggle with? Pressure. They have injuries in the offensive line. There's a lot of good metrics here defending Kansas City in this spot. So before you guys all jump on me and say you're a Chiefs homer and all these different things, a Mahomes, you know what, Ryder, I'm telling you guys, I think Kansas City minus 2.5 is a very good play. For minus 106, you're getting pretty damn good value on that one. All right, rant over. We're done with that. Now we have some player props to talk about before we end the video. And we'll start here with the Lions player prop. We're going with Jahmyr Gibbs over 24.5 receiving yards in this game. We're grabbing at minus 142 over on DraftKings. A little high from an odds standpoint. I don't love that necessarily, but not a bad mark. From a matchup standpoint, it is pretty good. The Kansas City Chiefs this year in receiving yards allowed, 7th best defense in the NFL. But the one real weak spot they've been defensively in terms of the passing game has been versus running backs. You see running backs averaging 32.6 receiving yards per game when playing the Kansas City Chiefs. They do rank in the bottom half of the league, 20th in the NFL, so it's a pretty decent matchup spot. Jahmyr Gibbs obviously heavily featured in this Lions passing offense. Looking down below here, he is the 3rd most targeted player in this Lions offense. Only Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta get more targets than Jahmyr Gibbs. 16.4% target share is pretty good. We go down below here. Receiving yards from running backs when playing Kansas City. Now, ignoring some of the lower lines here, look at Derrick Henry had 16 yards. Justice Hill, 41 yards. Cam Scatabo, 61 yards. So some pretty good numbers there. We've seen some running backs have success in the passing game against this Chiefs defense. Just from a Jahmyr Gibbs standpoint, he's cashed it in 3 of 5 games this year. That's a 60% hit rate, averaging 22.4 receiving yards per game this year. If we go ahead and stretch that data out to the last 10 games, dating back to last year, an 80% hit rate, averaging 38.7 receiving yards per game over the last 10 games dating back to last season. And last but not least, the insights provided by Outlier, just kind of extending the data range by 1 additional game. Jahmyr Gibbs has exceeded 24.5 receiving yards in 9 of his last 11 games dating back to last season, averaging 37.9 receiving yards per game over the last 11 games. 82% hit rate. Pretty good numbers across the board here. I like this player prop a lot for Jahmyr Gibbs. All right, guys, my second of 3 player props, in this game. We have Tyquan Thornton of the Kansas City Chiefs over 24.5 receiving yards. I'm grabbing this one for minus 114, best odds available to me over on DraftKings. Looking at the 2025 data, the numbers are pretty good. 4 of 5 games this year, he's cashed the over. That's an 80% hit rate in 2025, averaging 54.4 receiving yards per game this season. And he's coming off a pretty big game where he had 90 receiving yards against the Jacksonville Jaguars. He has been Mahomes' deep weapon this year. He's been the guy that he goes to in the deep ball. And you have seen his target share start to drop. And once Rashee Rice gets back, I don't expect Tyquan Thornton to get a ton of work in this offense. But Rashee Rice is not back just yet. And so for at least one more week, I expect to see Tyquan Thornton get a decent amount of work. He's 3rd on this team in targets right now. It's a 14.1% target share. The numbers will adjust because obviously now they have Xavier Worthy. He's been back for a couple games. He's starting to get his legs underneath him. I like what I'm seeing from Xavier Worthy right now. The Chiefs have been passing the ball at pretty high rates, 60% pass rate which is above league average. We also have the insights provided by Outlier. Tyquan Thornton has exceeded 19.5 receiving yards in 5 of his last 6 games dating back to last year, averaging 48.7 receiving yards per game. It's an 83% hit rate. Again, just kind of adding one other metric. That's back when it was the Patriots, though. Not as important to go ahead and look at there. Overall, the Detroit Lions this year, 229 receiving yards allowed per game. That is 17th in the NFL. Okay, about average. Versus wide receivers, though, 160 receiving yards per game to wide receivers. That is 26th in the NFL. Receivers are having success when they play this Lions defense. And with the injuries they have in the secondary, that number might be even larger in this matchup. The key thing here is the yards per reception for Tyquan Thornton. He's averaging 19.2 yards per reception. So if we go ahead and look at 2025, and actually if we adjust that, it'll be even bigger. Yeah, 21 yards per reception this year. The line is 24.5. 24.5. That's 19.5. Actually, hold on a second. Did we just stumble on something here? Yeah, minus 145. I like it better at minus 114. I still like it at that spot too. Actually, we can get it at 22.5 from minus 110. We're switching it live. We're switching it live. Screw it. We're going to do it live. Minus 110 over on BetMGM, 22.5. So we're basically shaving 2 yards off of it. Minus 110. If you don't have it, you can still take 24.5. I still like that, but I do have BetMGM available, so I'll take that at 22.5. Either one honestly works, guys. Over 22.5 receiving yards. And again, so 21 yards per reception this year. His targets, you see them starting to drop a little bit. He only had 5 targets last week versus the Jaguars. He only needs 2 or 3 catches to get this. I mean, he gets long catches. Again, he's sort of the deep ball receiver for them. So I think it's a really good spot. Good defensive matchup spot. Still getting a decent amount of looks in this offense. So I like his over. Again, 22.5 or 24.5. Either one, honestly, works for me. And real quick, guys, before I talk to you about the anytime touchdown player prop for this video, I want to talk to you guys about the sponsor of today's video, Novig. If you have not dabbled into peer-to-peer exchanges, you are missing out. Using Novig allows you to get unbeatable prices and lines on just about every game. Why? Because it is other users setting the lines, setting the odds. You are competing with other users, not the big books. Peer-to-peer is growing at a crazy rate. You don't want to be late to this. Sign up for Novig today using the link in the description as well as in the pinned comment, and you get a nice sign-up bonus of up to $50 as well. Check it out. It operates just like your normal sportsbook, but with better lines. Again, one more time, link down below in the description or in the pinned comment. Thank you to Novig for sponsoring today's video. And I just realized we were on the wrong screen. That was the Oracle screen. By the way, if you have not watched the Oracle, my full NFL picks show, go ahead and check that out. All right, guys, we're going to wrap up this video going a little long here. We have the anytime touchdown player prop. So again, comment the name of this player down below. And if he scores a touchdown, one lucky commenter will win a free $25 Amazon gift card. The player is, drum roll please, Xavier Worthy, anytime touchdown. Shout out to Novig, sponsor of today's video. We're going him anytime touchdown, plus 150 odds over on Novig. First and foremost, from a matchup standpoint, Detroit overall 2.8 touchdowns allowed per game this year. That's 19th in the NFL. Versus wide receivers, narrowing it down, bottom 5 in the league, 28th in the NFL, giving up 1.4 touchdowns per game to opposing wide receivers. Really good defensive matchup spot here for Xavier Worthy, okay? More than a touchdown per game average, so really good numbers there. Again, I think the Chiefs are going to win the game, so they will probably score multiple touchdowns in this spot. He has yet to score a touchdown yet this year. That just means he's due, guys. Last year, he did cash this at a 50% hit rate, including playoffs. So really good numbers last year from a touchdown perspective for Xavier Worthy. He hasn't gotten one so far this year. I think that changes this week against the Lions. He's missed 2 games, and yet he still owns a 10.2% target share. And if we go ahead and switch this to receptions just a second, just to go ahead and look at the numbers. Look at the target share the last couple weeks. 21% target share against the Ravens, 22% target share against the Jaguars. 8 targets and 9 targets in those 2 games. Since coming back from injury, Mahomes is going to him quite a bit. Okay, healthy amount, even more than Hollywood Brown. He's been the most targeted receiver the last couple of weeks for this Chiefs offense. So an increased amount of targets, a good defensive matchup here. It's plus 150 for a reason. He's due for a touchdown in this spot. I think it's a really good play here. Xavier Worthy, anytime touchdown. Again, so comment Xavier Worthy or Xavier, whatever sort of combination of his name you want to put down below. Comment his name, and if he scores a touchdown, one lucky commenter will win a free $25 Amazon gift card. Guys, that is it for me today. Thank you very much, as always, for watching. One more time, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. We'll be back next week with another edition of Sunday Night Football Picks. Until then, hope you're all winners. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy Sunday Night Football. Let's go ahead and make some money, baby. Let's go.